Welcome to Mild's Comics Plate. The following may contain copyrighted material under fair use. X-Men is property of Marvel Comics. Hi everyone, sorry it's been a while. I'm trying to get myself on a better regimen of recording videos. Just a little channel note, I meant to have that long Halloween out by now. It's become a bigger endeavor than I had planned. It definitely requires a little bit more nuance to figure out, separate the important material from the non-important material, because I can't show it all for the copyright stuff. So I'm working on it. It's probably going to be a two-parter, maybe even a three-parter, covering the Jeff Loeb trilogy. But anyway, today we have House of X. And this is a reboot of the X-Men franchise. They decided to cancel all their titles and start from scratch. And they gave Hickman 2 titles, House of X and Powers of X. And they're going to kind of intertwine as one big, 6-issue each, 12-issue miniseries kind of thing that will launch several new X-Men titles in the fall. Now, personally, I have not picked up an X-Men comic since the 1990s, the early 1990s, so I have no idea what's been going on other than rumors that I've heard. Here on the cover we have Xavier, who, to me, I'm like, oh, he's not in a wheelchair and he's wearing a weird Cerebro helmet. Okay, cool. But so as we launch into this comic, we have this weird mutants crawling out of the primordial soup splash page. I'm going to go ahead and skip that. This comic is full of several infographics that kind of tell you a little bit about this new mutant nation of Krakoa, right? And but the comic, after the title page, it launches with several mutants planting these flowers around several government buildings and several locations around the planet. Now, these flowers are linked to this mutant island of Krakoa and can create portals into other things, and essentially what happens is they overgrow and they take over government buildings, and world government leaders are then have their attention drawn to this mutant attack, for lack of a better word. And basically what it is it's Xavier and Magneto trying to get the attention of the world leaders because they want to be recognized as Krakoa to be recognized as its own nation for mutants. I'm going to go ahead and pull this aside and skip a couple of pages. Okay, so what we have here is the first infographic. Now, their proposal to the world governments are that they are going to provide these 3 drugs for humans. One of them extends human life for 5 years. I have no idea what that's even supposed to mean. Like, does that mean you're not going to die of old age for 5 years? Does that mean, like, even though you have fatal cancer, do you still live another 5 years? I don't get that. Like, if I get in a car accident and my body's mangled, can they just give me this flower and, my decapitated body will live for another 5 years? I don't know. But anyway, so then they have a universal antibiotic super drug, whatever the hell that means. And then they have another drug that cures diseases of the mind. Interesting. So their proposal is that they're going to provide these flowers, these plants, these drugs to the other nations of the world in exchange for recognition of their own sovereignty and their recognition of Krakoa as a member of the, nation states of the world. Meanwhile, it says, we have these other plants that are for mutant use, and it tells about the flowers being a gateway, how they interconnect as part of the consciousness of Krakoa, and that they can kind of create a habitat, and then this is kind of the same thing but opposite. You can create a collective consciousness of Krakoa within an ecosystem. Anyway, so essentially, for mutants, these plants connect them back to the island of Krakoa, and they're offering humans super drugs that cure them and make them live longer. So, yeah, this is their big plan. Okay, I'm gonna pull this aside real quick. The next couple pages essentially just follows Jean Grey as she brings a bunch of young mutants to the island, and you see the children are joyous, and Professor Xavier says, "Welcome home, Jean. You're safe here. We all are." And I think this is what this is trying to say, is that Xavier sees this as a sanctuary. He sees it as a safe place where mutants can get away from the horrors of the world. And that's all fine and dandy, but, there's the whole old saying that, isolation creates insanity. And so what we see moving forward, I'm going to skip a few pages because there's some issue. There's like a side story about, some giant spaceship called the Forge, and it's doing something, monitoring something, but that they don't really dig enough into that. Maybe it was a previous storyline that they're catching up on or something. I don't know. For it to be a reboot and then contain that seemed weird to me. But okay, so the next scene here, we have Mystique and Sabretooth, and there was one other. Oh yeah. What the heck is his name again? Dang it. It's on the tip of my tongue. The frog dude. Yeah. So anyway, they have broken into a storage facility that's co-owned by Tony Stark and the Fantastic Four, where they're storing all kinds of tech, and they're stealing some kind of data. And, we're not sure exactly what data it is. There's another infographic here that says all the other weird stuff that's stored in there. But, they have, so here we have the mutants trying to be accepted as their own sovereign nation, and one of the first things they do is go invade another place and attack and commit acts of terrorism. Fun times. And so, then they wind up in a fight with the Fantastic Four, which they later just, we have to make a gateway, we should run. And what they wind up doing is sacrificing Sabretooth. They let Sabretooth get caught so they can get away. So we have this other side story going on where, I said earlier, the leaders of the world were drawn to the plants growing on the outside of their government buildings. And so now what we have is, we have Magneto essentially dictating to them the terms of the mutants' demands. And, I'm going to kind of skip through some of this because, again, part of it's just, Cyclops joins the fight against the Fantastic Four. And then, like I said, they wound up sacrificing Sabretooth to get away. So... we have, one of these world leaders, had a weapon on him for his own protection, and Magneto basically destroyed it. And he says, I wasn't going to use it. It was for my protection. And Magneto says, of course, that's how it always starts. And should I show him out? And then, he basically says, it feels good to finally say it. You have new gods now. And so, this is how the comic ends, with a threat. You have Magneto threatening the world's leaders after giving them an offer and asking them for ambassadorship. You have essentially Cyclops, Sabretooth, and Mystique, breaking into the Fantastic Four and Iron Man's storage facility to steal data. This isn't how it's supposed to go. I could be way off on where they're going to go with this. Like I said, the infographics are weird. They have this weird little language that they're using as marketing. All in all, it's an interesting comic for $6. And I don't know where they're going to go with this. Hickman kind of has done a good job in writing a story that has set up a plot, gave you the important parts you need to know, and then left you with a cliffhanger wanting more. I will say that. However, we want heroes to be heroes, and there are no heroes in this story, only villains. Everyone seems to be a villain. Where's the story about humanity? Where's the story about the hero's journey? Where's the story about good people doing good things? There are some rationalizations made throughout the comic. We're doing what we need to do to survive, etc., etc. And then Xavier trying to make a safe place for mutants, etc., etc. I get it. I get that aspect of it. But their actions aren't heroic. Taking plants and planting them all over the world in front of government buildings and creating portals to... No. Creating portals to essentially cross borders and have spy ops going on. No. These aren't noble people. This isn't a noble cause. So, am I going to continue reading Hickman's House of X? I don't know. I may, for the next few issues, try to follow some reviews, try to see where the story's going. If I determine that there winds up being a story about heroics and superheroes doing heroic things, maybe, I don't know. But as of right now, I can't recommend this. Like I said, the writing is good. That's what sucks about it. The writing is kind of good. The structure anyway. Like I said, it sets up a plot, it sets up a cliffhanger, it makes you want to read more. But at the same time, the story is just so aggressive. I mean, that's really what it is. It's trying to make you sympathize with people who are being aggressive. Which, there are a lot of stories out there that do that. But this one has no redemption arc, or so we're led to believe at this point. It's a first issue. Who knows? I do not recommend... I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 just because, like I said, the writing is semi-good. The structure is semi-good. But the plot, they've lost me with the plot. Anyway, so like I said, I'm going to try to get that Batman Long Halloween trilogy videos going here in the next couple of days. I'm going to try to at least drop the first one. And then get to work on determining what information out of the other two I'm willing to put in a video. Just kind of to recap, the hard part is that Jeff Loeb has written these stories as a whodunit. And so every couple of pages drops a ton of information and another plot twist. And it is very difficult to figure out how much of that information I could put into a fair use video, because I don't want to give away the whole comic book to you all. That wouldn't be a good idea to do with DC Comics copyright there. This is the challenge I'm facing, and each of these, Long Halloween was 13 issues. I think Dark Victory was 12 issues, and then When in Rome was 6. And so, trying to determine which 6 to 8 pages from each issue I can show you to where you can get the key elements of the plot. That's been a little bit of a challenge. So that's taken a little time, and we've had 3 back-to-back really dramatic things happen in my family in the last couple of weeks. And so that's taken a lot of my time as well. I'm devoted to this channel. I'm devoted to giving you all quality content. If you support that endeavor, please give me a thumbs up. Share this video, share other videos, subscribe, let your friends know about me. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.